This is the wide angle, greeting all its viewers. This is your host, Arl Butt. Today, we are going to discuss an episode, rather a chapter of our freedom struggle, which has been an inspiration for all of us over the last 100 years. We are going to talk about Shaheed Bhagat Singh. Now, Bhagat Singh is a figure who needs no introduction to the viewers in India, even probably to the viewers outside India. He was amongst the foremost of the freedom fighters, particularly devoted to a revolutionary struggle. He was a revolutionary not in the ordinary sense of simply fighting against an alien occupation force, the British Raj, which had colonized India, but he was a revolutionary in that he believed that he was working, he and his revolutionary party, his comrades in arms, they were working for establishment of a very new and very just order. That is one aspect of freedom struggle, which, though running in tandem with the non-violent struggle under the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi, but it was trudging a course of its own. However, there is one important aspect where all the freedom struggle people who worked for freedom, who wanted to free their motherland of its foreign occupiers, is that they believed in principles, were strictly moralistic, and would not compromise on even a single point, though it would ultimately cost them their life. In Bhagat Singh, we have a person who was fiercely devoted to his principles, to his objectives, of course, but it was a very principled plane for him. And this thing we will illustrate by presenting one of the letters which he wrote to his father, Sardar Kishan Singh, from his prison about the defense. When after the bomb was thrown in the National Assembly, there was a case against them. They were persecuted. But then, because of certain circumstances, the accused, as they were in the case, which was generally called Lahore Conspiracy Case, they refused to appear before the magistrate, to appear in the court. The result was that the Viceroy got an ordinance passed, which was termed Lahore Conspiracy Case Ordinance in 1930. And as per that ordinance, it decreed that the proceedings would be conducted by three justices of high courts, and that even if the proceedings will go on, even if the accused did not present themselves even if they boycotted the proceedings. That thing, the Lahore Conspiracy Case Ordinance, it came somewhere in May. The boycott, actually, boycott of the court, which began not because they did not want to appear in the court, but because there were other pending demands. There was a hunger strike of the all the prisoners, political prisoners at that time, which was led by Bhagat Singh and his comrades, and they had negotiated. Government had assured them that they would implement certain measures for their welfare in the to meet their demands, to make their jail terms on humanitarian conditions they had agreed to, and that they had promised that they will implement them. But when they did not implement them, the accused Bhagat Singh and others, they refused to appear in the court in protest against that, not as a as a refusal to participate in the proceedings, but as a protest against the inaction of the government on issues on which they had already agreed. So in May, that happened in March. In May, under this Lahore Conspiracy Case Ordinance, a tribunal of 3 judges of High Court was set up, and the proceedings were to go ahead. That began somewhere in June, July, and then on one occasion, Sir Bhagat Singh's father, Kishan Singh, he tried to petition the government for defense of Bhagat Singh. And it is in this backdrop that Bhagat Singh wrote to his father, and it was a letter written on 4th of October, and the letter, at the very minimal, we can say it was a very hard letter, a harsh letter written to a father, which Bhagat Singh himself accepts in the letter. We will read this letter in an effort to bring out the principles for which Bhagat Singh stood and the firmness with which he refused to have his principles compromised under any circumstances. So Bhagat Singh writes, "My dear father, I was astounded to learn that you had submitted a petition to the members of the Special Tribunal in connection with my defense. This intelligence proved to be too severe a blow to be borne with equanimity. It has upset the whole equilibrium of my mind. I have not been able to understand how you could think it proper to submit such a petition at this stage and in these circumstances. In spite of all the sentiments and feelings of a father, I don't think you were at all entitled to make such a move on my behalf without even consulting me. You know that in the political field, my views have always differed with those of yours. I have always been acting independently without having cared for your approval or disapproval." You can see the tone is very harsh. And just as a backgrounder, it may be remembered that Bhagat Singh's father, Kishan Singh, was himself a freedom fighter, but he was a liberal freedom fighter. Liberal in the sense that he accepted some of the prevailing circumstances, and he wanted to wage a struggle in conformity with the rules and laws. It was not a complete that revolutionary thing thinking which Bhagat Singh stood for. We go ahead, second para. I hope, Bhagat Singh continues, I hope you can recall to yourself that since the very beginning you have been trying to convince me to fight my case very seriously and to defend myself properly. But you also know that I was always opposed to it. I never had any desire to defend myself, and never did I seriously think about it. Whether it was a mere vague ideology or that I had certain arguments to justify my position is a different question, and that cannot be discussed here. You know that You know that we have been pursuing a definite policy in this trial. Every action of mine ought to have been consistent with that policy, my principle, and my program. At present, the circumstances are altogether different. But had the situation been otherwise, even then I would have been the last man to offer defense. I had only one idea before me throughout the trial, that is to show complete indifference towards the trial in spite of the serious nature of the charges against us. I have always been of the opinion that all the political workers should be indifferent and should never bother about legal fight in law courts and should boldly bear the heaviest possible sentences inflicted upon them. They may defend themselves, but always from a purely political considerations and never from a personal point of view. Our policy in this trial has been consistent with this principle. Whether we were successful in that or not is not for me to judge. We have always been doing our duty quite disinterestedly. In the statement accompanying the text of Lahore Conspiracy Case Ordinance, the Viceroy had stated that the accused in this case were trying to bring both law and justice into contempt. The situation afforded us an opportunity to show to the public whether we were trying to bring law into contempt or whether others were doing so. People might disagree with us on this point. You might be one of them, but that never meant that such moves should be made on my behalf without my consent or even my knowledge. My life is not so precious, at least to me, as you may probably think it to be. It is not at all worth buying at the cost of my principles. There are other comrades of mine whose case is as serious as that of mine. We had adopted a common policy, and we shall stand to the last, no matter how dearly we have to pay individually for it. Further, I am quite perplexed. I fear I might overlook the ordinary principle of etiquette, and my language may become a little bit harsh while criticizing or rather censoring this move on your part. Let me be candid. I feel as though I have been stabbed in the back. Had any other person done it, I would have considered it to be nothing short of treachery. But in your case, let me say that it has been a weakness of the worst type. This was a time when everybody's mettle was being tested. Let me say further, you have failed. I know you are as sincere a patriot as one can be. I know you have devoted your life to the cause of Indian independence, but why at this moment have you displayed such a weakness? I cannot understand. In the end, I would like to inform you and my other friends and all the people interested in my case that I have not approved of your move. I am still not at all in favor of offering any defense. Even if the court had accepted the petition submitted by some of my co-accused regarding defense, etc., I would not have defended myself. My applications submitted to the tribunal regarding my interview during the hunger strike were misinterpreted, and it was published in the press that I was going to offer defense, though in reality I was never willing to offer any defense. I still hold the same opinion as before. My friends in the Borstal jail will be taking it as a treachery and betrayal on my part. I shall not even get an opportunity to clear my position before them. I want that public should know all the details about this complication, and therefore I request you to publish this letter. Your loving son, Bhagat Singh. That is the letter written on 4th of October 1930. 4 months later, Bhagat Singh was hanged. The grit, the stand, the principles for which this great freedom fighter stood, they need to be appreciated and they need to be seen in the context of what other moves were being made in India of 1930, when some people were siding with the British, they were even fighting for them, espousing their cause, and on the other there was Mahatma Gandhi, who was waging another principled struggle against the same colonial power, albeit on one with non-violent means. That is a difference of approach, but there never was any compromise on principles by either of these two struggles for freedom waged on one side by Congress and Mahatma Gandhi, the leadership of Mahatma Gandhi and the revolutionaries who were led by Bhagat Singh and others. We have brought this document about the personal opinions, thoughts, and the line of thinking of one of the great martyrs of India to you for appreciation. We hope people will be interested. Thank you very much.